Happy holidays, y'all. Oh, hey there. This is Matt from License to Watch. If you were expecting the first episode in our upcoming Lethal Weapon series, well, have I got news for you. Great news, that is. You get to wait a few more weeks for that, because we're saving a new franchise for a new year, baby. Instead, we've got a very special Christmas gift for all of you. You may have heard us mention that we have a Patreon. You know, patreon.com/L2W. The place you go to subscribe to our exclusive content show for just $1 a month. The place where you get to hear the ones you love discuss non-franchise classics like David Lynch's Dune, the Stallone classic Cliffhanger, the 90s Bill Paxton Helen Hunt joint Twister, or even all 4 of the Star Trek Next Generation films. You know, that place. Well, as our special gift to you this year, we're giving our subscribers a little sneak peek of our Patreon for free. That's right, for being such good boys and girls this year, the episode you're about to hear is a very special treat. On this special Patreon episode, we covered the 90s sports classic Rudy, starring Sean Astin. We love this movie and had a lot of fun talking about it. So if you like this episode and want to hear more from us, then please give back and help support the show you love and join our Patreon for just $1 a month. That measly dollar goes a long way. So sit back and relax and let us tell you a tale of a boy and his college football stadium. This is 1993's Rudy. Enjoy, and happy holidays from all of us here at License to Watch. Oh, and you have yourselves a happy new year too. See you next year, and enjoy the show.
Why in the world was this movie made?
Ooh, that was a little fast count, a little quick count, trying to throw us off sides.
Yeah. Just make sure you guys are paying attention.
That was appropriate for a football movie. Give us a little the hard count.
We should have done a slow clap.
You guys did watch the movie, right? You didn't protest it because the USC Notre Dame rivalry.
No, I did have a little snafu where I accidentally watched Rudy, the Rudy Giuliani story starring James Woods.
Oh, I almost bought that.
It was kind of a classic mistake that one makes. And then about halfway through, I was like, wait, when does Sean Astin come into this thing?
Yeah, that James Woods movie just sounds very bad to me. I don't know if I'm being judgmental, but it sounds like something I'd never want to watch.
What's funny is they do a good job with the makeup. He looks a lot like, it looks like if Rudy Giuliani and James Woods had a baby and the baby grew to old age.
What do you mean if?
But they're very it's almost like a deep fake of somebody putting Rudy Giuliani's face over James Woods' face. It's very strange.
That's disturbing.
It manages to retain all the ghoulish qualities of both men, like all their worst traits.
Is that some post 9/11 garbage movie, or is that a recent affair?
Yeah, it's like how Rudy Giuliani divided the city of New York, but solved crime and successfully got divorced while also 9/11. Never forget.
He put a bunch of homeless people on a bus to Santa Monica. That's how he saved New York.
and stopped and frisked everyone, which resulted in no arrests and no convictions.
Yep, great. No, that's 100% accurate. Welcome to the show. This is License to Watch, exclusive content, and of course, we're talking about the movie that everyone, all our subscribers want to hear us talk about. The great classic film, Rudy.
The Rudy Giuliani story, yes.
The Rudy Giuliani story.
Yeah, very confusing, but still the football movie is better of the two, I think.
Yeah, our loose connection to this movie being that, what's the priest's name from Exorcist 1? Father
Hot Priest? Father
not,
Damien?
Not Father Marin. Oh, I can't think of his name. Fuck.
Father Damien, whatever it is. Damien Karras.
Oh, yeah,
Karras. That's it.
Yeah.
Father Karras.
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
he plays the coach, the good coach.
Getting real Joe Paterno vibes from his coach too, like just in physical appearance and everything. Like the second he popped up, I was like, "Wait, are they just doing Joe Pa here?"
Yeah, I'm a little confused about where you're going with this.
Oh, do you want to talk about Joe Paterno? I was just commenting on the appearance.
Oh, okay, good.
But yeah.
I thought you said a vibe, I was like, what do you mean by a vibe?
Well, I don't think Joe Paterno is actually accused of doing anything untoward. It would be more like if there was a scene in the movie where Rudy was having to blow a coach to get onto the team, and
he just looked the other way.
And he walked in the room and was like, "Oh shit, never mind. I was never here.
I did not see this.
I saw nothing."
I'm just a ghost. Never mind me.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought you were. I thought you were about to make the point that that's somehow what you saw in this movie.
Yeah. I'm reading between the lines.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he never explicitly blows anybody in the movie, but I think
implied. It's heavily implied.
It's implied that it happens off screen frequently. He's not getting like free room and board, all this help with academic. Let's face it, he wouldn't have made the team without at least a couple of handies.
Well, that one coach doesn't want him on the team, but later in the movie, he definitely wants him on the team.
Oh, yeah, it's because Sweet Lips knows how to convert people.
Oh, disgusting.
What's that movie trope of like the magical black man who like guides the white boy
Bagger
through his
Vance?
journey?
Yeah, it's the magic Negro trope, and this is definitely Charles S. Dutton is playing a certain type of variation on that.
Yes, he is the one who forces him to blow him.
5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, not a speck of athletic ability.
Huge cock.
It's like at some point it's like, whoa, is this a psych up speech or what? Because I feel like the athletic ability thing is just sort of piling on at that point.
Incredibly ugly. It's like, whoa, dude.
It just keeps going.
You barely graduated from high school. Your girlfriend married your brother.
You got this smell.
Dumb as a brick. You smell like dookie.
I don't know what it is. Right after you come out of the shower, you got this stink still on you. It doesn't make any sense.
But I likes the way you look.
I could go on about the smell for a lot longer, but I got some other notes here.
You don't got nothing to prove to nobody but yourself.
And then he just like at the end he just like hands him a sticker right guard, and he's just like, but also the smell though.
At some point, you start getting your college movies mixed up, and I just want to see Rudy like pissed off in the hallway that he didn't get into Notre Dame, but then he looks up and sees a math equation on the board, and he's like, I can solve this. Vince Vaughn comes back, and he's like, hey.
Yeah, and then they piss off the dean with their prankster ways.
Yeah, exactly. There's a
Filled
panty
my
raid.
office with whipped cream. Beta house.
What does that have to do with football?
Yeah. So, where were we? So we're talking about Rudy.
Yeah. We're talking about Rudy. I saw this movie when I was young, maybe in like middle school. I think I just saw it once, rented it, and like obviously dug it, but I don't think I've seen it since then.
Yeah, you guys must have both been really young when this came out.
When did it come out? 93?
93, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it until I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school.
Did you cry?
Oh yeah.
All I remember is that it was very popular. It was like one of those crowd pleasers that I don't know how well it did. I forgot to look up if it made money, but I'm sure it did. But it was like one of these things that nobody really knew. There was no big names in it. There was no big draw. I don't think it was expected to do really well. And it was one of those just word of mouth things where people were just like, oh, did you see Rudy? It's really good. You got to see Rudy. Everyone loves Rudy.
Yeah, it's sort of a feel-good movie. It's almost Disney-esque. Is it a Disney movie? It's not, right? Is it like Touchstone or something?
I don't think it is a Disney movie, but I researched where Rudy Rudiger, the real man, is now in his life. And on his website, one of the things
Gay porn.
he's... No. No. One of the things that he's selling...
Yeah, probably other stuff too, Colin, but I'm just saying also gay porn.
Yeah, one of the things that he's selling is literally like little statuettes of Disney characters like Mickey and Donald and stuff like that.
That he makes?
I think he's just reselling them. I think it's just his personal collection.
Also a product called Disney Juice, which is actually just tied into the gay porn thing. It was TriStar, and the budget was $12 million and it made 23, so it might not have even done that well. But I just remember it being like a very popular, like critically acclaimed, like it was one of those movies that everyone was just like, oh yeah, you can't go wrong with Rudy because it's just like good, you know.
Was it nominated for anything, do you think? Probably
I don't
not,
think
right?
so. Doesn't say anything on the Wikipedia page about awards. I don't think so. It wasn't like an award contender kind of movie. It was just like a feel good film.
Guys, this show is behind the paywall. We don't do any research for these movies, okay?
I only looked up stuff about where the real guy, what the real guy is like, and the differences.
Looked up the thing on Wikipedia and stared at the Wikipedia page like kind of blankly for a while and I don't think I read much of it.
You just read the title like over and over, chanting Rudy in your head.
I don't have my glasses on. I know that he became a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints convert like a couple of years ago, very late.
Right, in 2017, he converted to Mormon.
From being a good Catholic boy his whole life. He
seems very Catholic
very
in the film adaptation.
Yeah, very, very weird.
That's a real fumble.
That's
right there.
That's good use of football terminology. I feel like you hit a home run with that one, Matt.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a real slam dunk.
Yeah, I think it's more like an interception, like the
Mormons intercepted.
Yeah, you got like
intercepted him.
You got like Latter Day Jesus at corner. He's running like a 4-2, and he jumps the route.
Yep. Picks off Rudy. Okay. What else do we have to say about this? Are we done?
Yeah, I think we've said it all. Yeah.
I've covered pretty much everything about Rudy. Should we talk about the actual story?
Yeah. So how does it start? It starts off when he's a kid, right?
Mm-hmm. They're playing.
And they're playing with his 9 brothers. He's got like so many brothers.
In real life, it's 14.
What?
In real life, it's 14.
Yeah, his parents.
Yeah, I saw at the end. It's like 5 of his younger brothers went to college. I'm like 5. I only remember like 3 from the movie.
So obviously, his parents are like super Catholic. They're like the kind of Catholics that don't believe in condoms.
I mean, it works for Mormons too.
That's true, but I don't think his parents were Mormons.
They just all have different moms.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got his older brothers who never believe in him and think he's a loser. And then his teachers at school who also don't believe in him and think he's a loser.
They go farther
His dad
than that,
doesn't believe
though.
in him, also thinks he's a loser. Huh?
The school teacher is an asshole. Like, why would any
yeah.
teacher ever be like that? And he's so jolly about it. He's hateful and he's jolly. And it's
gleefully crushing dreams. One
I
child
mean, he
at
is
a time.
a Catholic priest, so
Yeah.
I bought it.
The first scene is him going through the classroom and the teacher's like catches him not paying attention, and he's like, the problem with dreamers is they don't do anything that matters in the real world, so don't have dreams, kids. But he says it with like a big smile on his face. He's like, our friend Rudy here is going to be a loser his entire life because he dreams about ambitious things.
Let's face it, you're all just going to work at the mill, at the ironworks, or whatever the fuck it was. The steel mill.
It's really clear he's singling out Rudy. He might as well have been like, oh, well, class, I know I was just talking about bicameral legislature, but what you really need to take home and remember is that Rudy here is a piece of shit.
Look at him, class. Just look at him.
Definitely destined for failure. 5 foot nothing,
And that
100
smell.
nothing, not a speck of athletic activity.
That smell.
And of course, as we all know, the Rudy smell. That would be funny if everyone in the scene got one Charles S. Dutton speech where they were just, like, his dad's like, I mean, Rudy, I love you, but look at you. You're 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. You got that smell.
The chant at the end goes from Rudy to Duty. Duty.
All his friends at school, all the lives that he changed, they're like, oh, Rudy, I owe you everything. You've restored my faith in football. But also, you're 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. You got that smell.
Yeah.
You're not athletic. You girls don't like you. You're dumb. I mean, really dumb. Even after the dyslexia thing, you're still pretty dumb.
You've inspired me to be a better man, but please do not stand too close to me.
Your failure to be a better man has inspired me to make better use of all my gifts. I had to literally meet a man who had nothing, just nothing. You got nothing going for you, Rudy, and it means a lot to me.
Thanks for being my friend. Speaking of friends, we forgot about his friend Pete.
Yeah,
Pete, who he forgot about real quick, and the audience forgot about real quick.
The one guy that believes in Rudy. The one guy who's like, Rudy, you might be 6 feet tall. I don't know. What are you, pushing $150 there? You can do it, buddy.
Nothing's ever going to happen to me. I'll be with you forever.
We'll get through this together.
That scene where he puts his cigarette match in the little Hostess cupcake for his birthday. It's touching.
How prophetic.
Yeah.
Because he burned alive.
Oh, is that like an illusion, like a foreshadowing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pete's fascination with flames, it was his undoing.
Yeah.
And they would eat cupcakes at his funeral.
I want to see the prequel where Pete is like a secret pyro that's like
Yeah.
serial arsonist.
He's sabotaging the plant.
Yeah.
Was Pete the one in the beginning when they were kids who said, "Oh, just let Rudy play. I have to go"?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
They don't name any of those kids, but I assumed it was like his brothers and Pete and some other friend.
He's definitely like hugging him at practice in the football high school scene.
I think they were close. I also think that there was in addition to Rudy's many other failings in life, he also failed to get Pete some water when Pete's trying to put out that fire that eventually explodes and kills him. Like,
Yeah.
Rudy's the one up there turning the valves, and Pete's like, I need some water down here, Rudy. And Rudy's like, I'm working on it. He's like, do something. He's like, I'm trying. And failing again, like you do at everything, Rudy. Failure.
You piece of shit.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen his father do like a walk hard type of speech. Like, the wrong kid died. The wrong employee died.
Yeah.
Pete was a hell of a fucking steel smelter or whatever the fuck we do here.
Pete would have figured out how to get that water on. Man, Pete was great with water.
Maybe for the listeners who are just listening because they love us and haven't seen the movie, maybe we should do like just sort of a quick summary of what this movie is about.
Who?
Do either of you
Which?
want to take it? What?
Who of us? Who among us?
I'll give it a shot, but you guys should jump in if I skip anything. This isn't
Sure.
going to be like a 2-minute one. I'm just going to talk through it really quickly.
Yeah.
All right. So Rudy is growing up in Indiana or Illinois, somewhere in the Midwest, and his dad is like a huge Notre Dame fan, and ever since he was a kid, he dreams of playing for Notre Dame, but everyone's like, no, we suck. We're just in this shitty steel town, and we're like blue-collar people. We don't go to Notre Dame, and you're tiny and also not athletic, and also you smell, so you'll never get into Notre Dame. So after school, he gets a job at the steel mill like everyone else, and he's like depressed and miserable, and then his best buddy Pete, who's like his only friend in the world, gets killed in a steel mill accident. That wasn't his fault, but also he didn't really help the situation that much. And then he decides, fuck it, I'm just going to go to Notre Dame. He's got some money saved up, so he dumps his fiance, or doesn't really dump her. He just says, I'm going to Notre Dame, which is in a different state. So I hope this works out, I guess. And he goes there and he finds out from this priest that his grades aren't good enough to get in because he's really dumb. He didn't do well in school. But if he goes to the Holy Cross College nearby, he could maybe transfer if he gets his grades up. So he gets this job at Notre Dame on campus as a groundskeeper working for this guy named Fortune, who's this like mysterious sort of laconic black guy played by Charles S. Dutton. Meanwhile, he's like trying to go to school and learn stuff, but he's really struggling. And then Jon Favreau appears as one of his teaching assistants who gets this mistaken belief that Rudy is good with girls. And Jon Favreau like can't even talk to them. He's such a spaz. So he's like, okay, you hook me up with some ladies and I'll tutor you. And they realize while he's tutoring him that he's dyslexic. So once they figure that out and he does some anti-dyslexia training, he actually starts to get better grades. And then, so he's also sucking up to the coach who's like, you're an idiot, get out of here, you're tiny, I don't want you. But they do accept walk-ons at Notre Dame. So after all this effort, he's like, and I mean, the semesters are just flying by now, and every semester he applies to Notre Dame, and every semester he gets rejected. And he gets rejected like 3 times, and then the 4th time, which is going to be his last chance to transfer, he gets in, and he goes back home, and his dad, oh my God, I forgot about the best scene, which we have to talk about, where his dad says goodbye to him at the bus, which I love. But anyways, so he goes back home and goes
You're way past that right now.
No, yeah, we're just gonna keep on going. We'll double back. But he goes back to the steel mill, and his dad is like finally proud of him and finally kind of believes in him. But his older brother Frank is like, "You still suck, Rudy, and you still smell." So he goes back and he tries out for the team, and he's like the tiniest, shittiest player on the team. And but one of the coaches is like, you know what? He's trying harder than everybody, so let's let him in this last spot as a walk-on. And eventually, he, through his hard work, and he never misses a day of practice, and he gets his ass kicked by everyone all the time. But he never gives up, and he finally wins the respect of all the other players, even the ones that hate him at first, and all the coaches. And finally, at the end of his junior year, the coach says he's telling his dad that he's telling his brother and his dad that he's playing on the team, but they kind of are like, well, yeah, but you never get to dress because you're just in the practice squad, so we don't really believe you. It's mostly fucking Frank, that fucking asshole.
Fucking Frank.
So finally, he convinces his coach that next year for one game sometime he'll let him dress. And then that coach retires and a new coach comes in. And I can't remember his name. His name's like Coach Asshole or something. Coach Dick shit?
Divine.
Coach
Divine.
Oh, Coach Divine, yes. And he's like a total bad guy. And he's like, I hate Rudy. I don't care if everyone else loves him. I hate him. He's my least favorite player. And there's no way that guy will ever play for my team in uniform ever. And then finally, the last game of the season, all the other players threaten to like walk out if he doesn't suit Rudy up. So he eventually caves and says, okay, fine, Rudy can play, but he's not getting on the field at all. I'm not putting him in for any plays. And then, of course, at the end of the game, it's kind of a blowout, and they put all the seniors in except for Rudy, and the players get the ball back, and they're like, Rudy plays defense, and if we don't score in this blowout where there's only like 30 seconds left, he won't get in. So they throw like a Hail Mary pass, and they score on like it was like a halfback.
Yeah, the halfback pass. I feel like I should take over at this point. You're really not.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, we're not getting the football technical.
See how much time you can extend this last 30 seconds of the movie. I'm literally on the goal line, and you're just taking my touchdown from me. Fine, Colin, go ahead. I took it all the way down the fucking field, a 99-yard slog from my own 1, and you're gonna punch it in for the score. Okay, Glory Boy, go ahead, go get it.
I'm gonna call my own number.
The point here is that it was a slog.
I'm gonna call my own number on this one. That was a good run getting us down here, Harris. But I think I'm going to take it in. Let's take a couple steps back.
No steps back. We can start just talking about the... If you're going to take steps back, let's just talk about the fucking movie.
It makes me look better if I score from farther away. All right, so the bad guy coach, he's like, I don't want to play him. All the other players are like, we got to play Rudy. And they go into his office, and they're like, I want Rudy to play in my place. I'll give him my jersey, coach. And the coach is like, what the fuck is happening right now? And all the players do it, and he's like, fine, whatever. So then they start playing the game, and then they start playing the seniors. And the coach is like, I'm not going to play Rudy, though. Like,
What the fuck's going on here? You're literally just saying things I just said. I thought you were going to, like, finish, not just restate things. I thought you were being more concise.
But now it's even more of a slog.
You had your time. You had your time. It's over now. All right. So then, like, the guy that was always, like, kicking the shit out of Rudy but respects the hell out of him is like, this ain't right. I want Rudy in there. And he just starts saying, Rudy, Rudy. And all the other motherfuckers on the sideline are like, yeah, Rudy. And then the whole stands is like, Rudy. Rudy. And the coach is like, oh shit, they know that I'm the one keeping him on the sideline, so let's put him in. And then Rudy gets out there and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm playing. He looks like he's like shitting himself or something. And then like everybody's just like fucking stoked. And then Rudy lines up after they throw the halfback pass because they got to get him in, you know, because Vince Vaughn was kind of a dick, and then he realizes, you know what, Rudy inspires me. He inspires us all. I got to throw a halfback pass.
Colin's summarizing the last 5 minutes of the movie and taking about as long as I took for the previous hour and 48 minutes.
That's not true. Let's move on. So then Rudy gets out there. He's on the kickoff, and then he lines up a defensive end, and then it's the last play of the game, and the Georgia Tech the opponents, he's like hut, and Rudy gets in there and like they can't even block him. They can't handle it. His intensity, his passion, his drive, his fucking joy. He fucking sacks him, and the crowd goes insane, and they are chanting Rudy, and then he sacked him, and they just fucking grab him and they put him up on their shoulders and they carry him out of the stands. Everybody's screaming. His fucking parents are there, or his dad, not his mom. His mom doesn't give a shit.
She was there.
Oh yeah, she is there. She is there. But Frank is there, and that's what's important because Frank cares about him as a brother
All right.
for the first time
Matt,
in his
do you have
whole
anything
life.
to add to the? You want to recap any of this recap?
Yeah, I'll start from the beginning. So
Yeah,
it starts when they're kids, and
Yes.
it's an inspirational story. It seems like the creators of this film set out to make the most inspirational movie of all time, and it's pretty much just focusing on the drive of this character, and they do a pretty good job of making playing for Notre Dame seem like the greatest achievement that any man could ever achieve, even if you play for like a very brief amount of time, like one play or two plays or whatever. As long as you're out there and people can see that you're there and establish that that's you, then that's all you need to be a great person.
They even have the guy he says he's one of Rudy's practice squad teammates who says he's got offers from Big Ten schools, but he had to go to Notre Dame and be on the practice squad because his dad played there and was an All-American there. And like he hates playing for Notre Dame and he hates being on the practice squad and getting his ass kicked for nothing. And even in the movie, they brainwash you to the extent where I'm watching it and I'm like, I should be saying, this guy's making a lot of really good points. Why the fuck would you want to be on the fucking Notre Dame practice squad to get your ass? And by the end of it, Rudy's like, but it's Notre Dame football, man. You got to believe. You got to love it. I'm like, yeah, Rudy, tell him. Straighten this guy out.
They put real gold in the paint they put on the helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like that was an obstacle for me in like originally seeing this movie in like the 90s because I saw it in the late 90s or whatever, but I didn't watch it as soon as it came out because I was a little younger, and also by the time we get to the mid 90s, like Notre Dame was not the same football program as it was. This movie takes place in 1975. So in the 60s and 70s, Notre Dame was, you could argue, like the best football team.
They were pretty shitty in the 60s before this. What's his name? Whatever the guy's name.
Parsegian.
Parsegian.
Yeah. Before Parsegian took over, they had like kind of sucked for a long time. He was the one who sort of brought them back.
Right, but like But
they still had old school Newt Rockne fans.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was a bigger legend about Notre Dame college football, in the 70s than there was in the 90s. The thing I remember about Notre Dame from when I was young is the year they had the two coolest names in college football when they had both Carlisle Holiday and Arnez Battle, which was... I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Those are pretty.
Those are names. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I guess like Notre Dame's a really big deal. And then I saw the movie and I was like, wow, Notre Dame must be like the biggest deal ever in 1975.
Do you think, I got a random question. Speaking of Notre Dame, it's sort of an interesting trivia fact to point out that on this team, Rudy's senior year somewhere, never mentioned in the movie or shown anywhere, Joe Montana was the quarterback of that team, freshman. And just in terms of, since you brought up football names, because I mean,
wait, let me stop you. They just cut to the actual Joe Montana, like playing himself as a young person. He's like, "You go, Rudy!" Like for one shot.
17-year-old Joe Montana played by like 48-year-old Joe Montana or whatever.
Yeah, he's surrounded by women. He's just like, "Yeah, you go, Rudy."
I buy it.
But of all the great,
he's wearing a Jets jersey for some reason.
Obviously, there's great football. Like Plaxico Burress is a great name. Lawyer Malloy,
yeah.
I think, is an excellent football name. But like quarterbacks
Brickashaw,
specifically,
Ferguson.
Quarterbacks have like specific. Like Joe Montana sounds like a fucking quarterback name. Joe Montana. Like what is the best? I feel like you can
there's
just
that one
determine
guy.
how.
Ha Clinton Dix.
See, I feel like that's a good name in general, but not a good quarterback name. Quarterback name is like
right.
he would
Terry
be the lead
Bridgewater?
in an action movie or something, like
Yeah, Brick
like
Hardjaw.
Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback name.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
that's a
Baker Mayfield, yeah. Terry Bridgewater?
Teddy.
Isn't that his name? Teddy.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Fuck. I knew he had a good name.
Teddy Bridgewater sounds like a one of the things that like one of the presets you can get at like a Build-A-Bear to me.
Yeah. There's something a little too children's book narrator about Teddy Bridgewater. You need that like masculine, like Tony Romo. Honestly, pretty good quarterback name. It's punchy. It's like Tony Romo. Who are you? Tony Romo. You know.
I unfortunately we're gonna find out that Teddy Bridgewater was our biggest fan and now is like out to kill me.
Yeah.
I heard that teddy bear comment. I don't know why he talks like Mr. T.
I pitted a fool. Make Teddy Bear comments about Teddy Bridgewater.
I pitted a fool.
I'm trying to think of more quarterback names that are cool. Is it just that their names become cool because they are quarterbacks, or
I don't know. Like, you don't think the name Joe Montana would be pretty cool regardless?
like you think if you just
Yeah.
met a guy named Baker Mayfield in the street and he was just some guy and you'd be like, your name's Baker?
Have you ever played
Like,
QB?
If I met him in the street and he wasn't QB, I would think he like escaped from Pleasantville. You know what I mean? Like he was
Right.
one of those people who used to live in the black and white world, and like
That's part of it. It's like there's something like all Americanly wholesome, but also super masculine about it, and almost like mythical. You know,
I like Steve McNair.
Steve McNair's a pretty good one. Yeah,
Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning could be a hot girl name.
Yeah, Peyton Manning sounds like a chick.
That's definitely like there's like a series of athlete names that definitely if they weren't famous
Will you accept
athletes-
Eli Manning?
Yeah, Eli Manning's not bad. Now the Lopez twins in basketball, Brooke Lopez and Robin Lopez, definitely
Yeah.
hot girl names. Just hot girl names everywhere. That's a whole different category of sports names.
Hey, but it happens though. You know,
It does.
having a chick name, it happens.
I'm gonna name my daughter Peyton Manning.
Like Tom Brady is not really a cool.
No, it's
Quarterback
like
name.
definitely. You know what it's missing? It's definitely got like the wholesome all-Americanness to it, and it's definitely got like the masculineness, but it doesn't have that swagger. It's a boring name, you know. It doesn't have that swagger of
Yeah.
like Montana, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like other Tom Bradys. You know that there's other Tom Bradys that aren't that Tom Brady, even when
Yeah.
you hear the name Tom Brady.
He had to be the best fucking quarterback in history just to make that name a thing where you're like, you don't have to ask which Tom Brady. You know, it's like you just know that name became famous, but he had to like climb the heights to achieve that. You know.
Yeah, that would be a good point if he was the best quarterback in history. Oh,
Ooh, ouch! Controversy.
that's right. I did it. I took shots at
I
Tom
mean,
Brady.
I'm not going to go fighting over the Tom Brady thing. I mean, I think it's kind of the numbers kind of don't lie, but
Listen to this New Englander.
I don't
Good
care.
God.
Yeah. Okay.
I got no Patriot love.
I would have liked to have seen a flashback to Fortune's playing days. I could see him like stiff arming some guys and just really.
Or like the secret ending of this movie is like he goes up to the coach at the end and he's like, I want back on the team, damn it.
I got 2 years of eligibility left. I'm ready.
Aren't you 55? I don't give a fuck.
I'm 55, 5 foot nothing,
Yeah.
100 nothing.
50 nothing.
Sir, you just keep saying nothing. It don't mean nothing.
Based on his, so for those people who haven't seen the movie, at the very end, Rudy's going to quit the team because he finds out on his basically the last practice before his last game of his career that he's not going to dress, and he basically decides to quit in protest and not show up to the practice. And he goes to tell Fortune that he's quitting, and Fortune tells him that when he was younger, he was on the Notre Dame football team, and it's like a big reveal because we thought he was just like the guy who mowed the lawn there, but it turns out he was on.
Thought he was just a friendly janitor.
Yeah, he was on the Notre Dame football team, and he quit because he thought he wasn't getting enough playing time because he thought the coach was racist. And so he sort of did a diva move and quit the team. And he said there's not a day goes by they didn't regret it. And all I'm thinking is the entire time is he sure that
The coach probably
wasn't racist? Like, he might have not been. Like, maybe he's got a good point, and maybe, like, fuck that guy, you know? Like,
There were two things on my mind the whole time. Two things on my mind during the whole speech is like, yeah, but maybe the coach was racist though, and also
That
this guy is so much of a better man than Rudy's actual father. Like,
right.
in so many ways.
Oh, can we talk about the Rudy's dad's going away speech now? I loved it
Yeah.
so much. I think it's become one of my favorite speeches. I want to learn it as a monologue because
It kind of gets me. It kind of hurts me. Like, I'm like, I start to like agree with him, and it like makes me feel feels that I don't want to feel. He's like, the problem with like pursuing your dreams or going after any dream is all it's gonna do is bring heartache to everyone around you, and worst of all, yourself. It's like, okay, you're right, I guess.
And this is when we announce we're quitting the podcast.
Yeah.
This is what I love about this speech is it's set up like. So his father's shown him no support. His father kind of like, he's not like his brother Frank, who's just like, you suck and you can't do it his whole life. But his dad's like, every time he says something about Notre Dame, his dad kind of rolls his eyes and goes, oh, fucking Rudy.
Laughs
What
in
an
his
idiot.
face.
Yeah, exactly. He laughs at it. It's a joke.
Wait. But also before this scene, Rudy is just a bystander in a bar fight between Pete and Frank. And his dad goes right up to Rudy, points in his
I noticed
face, and
this.
says, "Rudy, bad," like he's a dog. And then goes to Frank, and he goes, "Frank, good.
Kick him out.
Yeah.
Don't nothing ever change." And it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I feel sorry for those 14 other kids. I feel so
Yep.
sorry for those 14 other kids.
He only likes the oldest.
Ugh.
Also, like, they call him Rudy because his last name is, like, what is it?
Rudiger.
Rudiger. But
Rudiger.
all the kids' last names,
Yes.
they all have the same last name. Why is he Rudy?
I'm pretty sure his dad didn't, like in real life, I'm pretty sure his parents and his brother didn't they probably called him Dan. But like, I think in the movie, it would be confusing for them to name have the character be Dan for the first half of the movie and then Rudy once he gets to Notre Dame.
My impression
Yeah.
is that like the father is such an asshole that like he only cares about like Frank so much that the nickname became his name because he later on realized he had to like pay attention to this other child instead of Frank.
Or maybe with all those kids, it is just sort of like he remembered Frank, he remembered what's the second one, John or whatever. He could remember a couple names, but once it got into like the high single digits, he was like, all right, Rudy, you're all Rudies.
Maybe, yeah, like George Foreman style.
George Foreman style.
But he has this moment where Rudy's going off. He's hopping a bus to Indiana. He's gonna go, try to pursue his dream at Notre Dame. He's broken up with his fiance effectively, and quit his job at the steel mill. And his dad comes and meets him at the bus station while he's waiting for the bus. And he's surprised. He's like, "Dad, what are you doing here?" And his dad sits down and he sort of has this like father-son moment where he starts telling him the story. He's like, Your grandfather moved to this country with nothing. He was following a dream, and he worked real hard and did this. And he's telling the story. And you think it's going to be like an uplifting, like, go chase that fucking dream, Rudy. And then it takes a turn, and he's like, and then somebody got it into his head to buy a farm full of dairy cows. And the next year, all those cows died. And then he ran off, and me and my brothers had to like move to different families and work our whole lives. And don't follow your dreams, son. And it's like, I just love, like, it's like a twist ending of like a great, passionate speech to inspire his son, except then it just turns into a speech about like how his son's stupid for doing this, and he'll keep the job at the steel mill open for a couple of weeks when he falls on his face.
The point is, son, your grandfather was 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing.
And the smell, I swear, the smell. They think that might be what killed those cows.
Even the dairy cows couldn't take it.
They couldn't handle it.
Have you ever smelled a dairy cow? They just fart nonstop, and he was there stinking the place up even worse. Rudy, you got that Rudiger smell.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, he says Notre Dame isn't for people like us. Like we work in steel mills and we have shitty lives, and you can be very happy with a shitty life as long as you don't hope for anything better.
Yeah, that's fucking tragic. Like a person in a lower socioeconomic class being like, "No, I'm like on a lower class of existence." Like, and you are too because you're related to me. Like, that's fucking sad as fuck.
Yeah, it's not even worth trying to get out.
Yeah. The weird thing about this scene to me is that's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, this is probably the same shit his father's been saying for a long time. But also I get the impression that this is the first time the father is revealing this information. And I just don't get the impression of like, which way is it? Is this because by the end of it, Rudy's like, yeah, I don't want to be frank. Shut the fuck up. I've heard this before. But then the way in the beginning of when he starts telling the story, he's very much like, I don't really ever talk about your grandfather, but I'm talking about it now because I need you to fucking hate yourself. I don't know.
I feel like it's like his last ditch effort is like he's always preaching this don't have dreams, just be happy with your shitty life type of thing. And because he says the same thing to Frank, like at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Frank's got bigger ambitions and he's like, fuck it, Frank, you're going to work in the steel mill just like me. And it's not that bad. And Frank's like, I don't want to work in the steel mill. And
also, isn't that Frank getting offered a job at like 12 years old?
Yeah.
Isn't that happening? Okay.
Yeah. But I think this is like his last ditch effort he hasn't been able to successfully impress upon Rudy the danger of having ambition. And this is his last chance. It's like, I never told you about what killed your grandfather.
They did kind of a good job in the beginning, like establishing that Rudy was a bit of a slacker. He's like bad in school. He's late to work.
Right.
He's pretty much just
head in the clouds. He's got his head in the clouds.
It was his birthday.
He's got his head in the clouds. Yeah. And it took Pete's fiery death to like literally light a fire under his ass, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and then he goes off to Notre Dame, and it's like we get that kind of thing where it's like we like to see somebody working hard and get rewarded, but not before they're tortured by failure several times. Like people have to still continue not to believe in him and tell him he's shit, even though he's working really hard for about 45 minutes.
The movie doesn't work if he's not getting abused. I'm sorry. Like, I disagree. Like, this story works for me because, like, he's miserable and being told that he should be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the inspirational part is that, like, look what he had to go through to get to the top, And the top is, like, the very...
One sack.
Like, the lowest part of the top.
One sack.
Can we talk about the real star of this film? And that is the score, the musical score.
Oh, I definitely wanted to talk about that. It's Jerry Goldsmith, who we've talked about many times in the podcast.
Yep.
I love it. I actually think the cinematography, not the lighting so much, but the camera, the way they move it, and the choices of where they put the camera and the way they move it. They're putting it on a crane a lot, which is, that's cool. But also, something I noticed is, so he gets like 4 rejection letters and then the acceptance letter, right? Every time he gets the rejection letter, he's handed the letter and the camera is close to him. And by the time he opens it and reads it, the camera is much farther away from him. And the last time he gets the letter, the camera is on the other side of like the point of view of the person giving him the letter. And as he opens it, the camera gets closer to him. And like, it's not, it doesn't seem like a significant detail, but like this story on paper versus like this story on film, it's a huge deal. And it does a lot to tell the story.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
Good comment on the score, Colin. Thanks. That's a good. Definitely glad we covered all that.
It was Jerry Goldsmith's idea to do it that way. Everybody knows that.
Matt, did you have anything else to say about Jerry Goldsmith's score?
I remember. I don't know if you guys like remember the like pre-roll shit that used to play before movies. Like when I was a kid. Our local movie theater was called the Lowe's movie theater, and Lowe's had like a pre-roll thing that they would play where they would show like clips from movies and then tell you to like go to the what do you call it, like to get refreshments, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they played this music from this movie, and it would like really got you pumped up about
Amped up, yeah.
seeing a movie in the movie theater.
Yeah. I went to Lowe's a lot. We had a Lowe's, and it was like the nearest theater, and there was also a thing about it. So for whatever reason, they built it basically like it's a big rectangle building, right? And there's one big hallway in the middle, and then two smaller hallways that go to the theaters. So like a big cross of hallways in the middle of the big rectangle building.
This is the Shapes podcast with Colin Shaw.
The box office was at the front door.
Box, it's another shape.
Yeah, but the back door was an equal-sized door that went to the same hallways. So if you went during the day, during the matinee times, when they only had one box office employee and no other employees working, you could just walk in and see whatever you wanted to see. And it was fantastic.
Ours was kind of like that too. When we would just like wait by the exit, which was like so far away from the box office. Like all you had to do is wait for someone to walk out, and then you just like grab the door and walk in. And there was like a mob of people exiting usually, and so like they could never catch you,
Yeah. Imagine that, but the exit like door is basically the same size as the like front door. It's just the box office is facing away from it. Like
We used to have the big we had like a 12 theater building, and we just used to wait at the back, and we'd all pitch in for one person to buy a ticket, and then just push the back door of the theater open, and we'd all walk in. Or they also, the guy who took the tickets took it in the middle of the theater, and then they had velvet ropes set up to either side, but the bathrooms were on the on the inside, like you couldn't access the bathrooms from the lobby. So we would just duck under the rope and go into the bathrooms right at the edge of the rope, which is like the farthest distance from any employee. And then when you came out of the bathroom, you were already on the right side of the ropes, and you just go to the whatever theater it was.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
That's the best. Is like you go up to the box office and you're just like, look, I have a bathroom emergency. I've got to get in there and I've got to go to the bathroom. You go in the bathroom, spend about 15, 20 minutes sitting inside a stall, walk right out, walk into a theater.
I think teenagers should be allowed to sneak into like a certain amount of movies without getting in trouble. I think that's like just like a fact. Like they don't have a lot of money, they got nothing else to do. I feel like you should just be allowed to sneak into some movies, or like what we also used to do sometimes, which was pay for a movie and then just walk into a different theater after it was done and watch two movies in a row.
Oh yeah, that's
totally.
the best.
Yeah.
Double feature.
That's a classic move.
If you're willing to sit on your ass for that long, I mean, you're kind of paying a different kind of price. So
Right. And that's statistically recorded somehow.
Me and my friends learned the hard way that if you sneak into a movie that no one has purchased a ticket for, they don't play the movie.
Yeah,
we snuck into a movie and we were sitting there, like, let's say it started at 9:00. It was now like 10 after 9. And we're like, where the hell is the movie? Did the projectionist fall asleep or whatever? So I go up to the front desk and I'm like, hi, yeah, I'm in theater like 6 or whatever. And the movie's...
He's complaining about a movie he didn't pay for.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy's like, he looks at the computer and he's like, theater 6, you say? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, let me follow you there. And I realized that I'm like, oh shit. And he like stopped to talk to another employee for a second, and I rounded the corner and I quickly ran into the theater. I was like, let's go. And like everyone just ran the fuck out.
That's funny. What movie is it? Do you remember? It's like Freddy Got Fingered, or
The remake of the Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, that seems like a movie that nobody would go to. Yeah.
It was late at night on like a Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw that at Lowe's for free.
Yeah.
Don't steal. Don't steal, listeners. Stealing's bad. Sorry.
Yeah. Dude, this is behind the paywall. We can advocate stealing if we want to.
Okay.
Yeah, we can advocate for all crime.
The score on this movie is doing a lot of work. It's like I noticed there was like, it's not just the inspirational parts, which which you pointed out are great. And I think John McCain even used this for his presidential campaign to like play when he came out on stages, which makes perfect sense. It's like a political theme. This is like super inspiring, but it's even for like the quieter moments. It's it's almost heavy-handed in that it's like always telling you how to feel, like, oh, this is a sad moment, oh, this is tense, oh, what's going to happen here. But in a movie like this, I don't think you're supposed to be subtle about those kind of things. You almost want a score that's like super aggressive and going to carry you to the emotional places. It certainly isn't a subtle movie, so
Yeah, and all sports movies have so much montage in them that it's like you're gonna have to have some kind of beats to this.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the music for me kind of plays like a heartbeat, like you say. You know, like that in the beginning, it's got that like that lower theme, that like light one. You know, that plays like for the first like 2/3. Yeah, it's something like that, and it's just kind of like, but it's got that like melody of like, or the rhythm rather of like.
We'll see how much post
you know,
work
it's
we
like,
do in this episode to see if anybody actually pulls the theme and plays it.
oh yeah, it's basically it's like a steady build, and then like it's building. It's like an orgasm. It's like building and building, and then the coming is the montage of him at his football practice, like getting the shit kicked out of him. Yeah, because that's when that theme first like really kicks in, and then of course at the end for the final scene.
That's a perfect analogy, because whenever I think of Sean Astin and Rudy, I think
Of ejaculating.
You sick fuck.
I think of ejaculating everywhere. And then Father Karras walking in and being like, "Oh, didn't see anything."
I didn't see nothing. And then the other, what's his name comes up. That's right. You didn't see nothing. You didn't see 5 foot nothing. You didn't see 100 nothing.
5 foot nothing. You smell? You stupid.
And that smell.
Can we talk about Charles S. Dutton here? I want to talk more about Charles S. Dutton.
I would love to talk about him and the rest of the cast.
Do you guys remember when Rock was on, the TV show Rock that he was on?
No.
Did you guys never watch that? You guys are so white.
Chris Rock?
So Rock was... No. Rock
I don't even
was-
remember that show. Never heard of it.
I'm surprised you guys don't remember it at all. It was a show on Fox. It ran for like 4 years. I think it was on before this movie came out, so I think he was already known for that show before this movie. And he basically played a janitor. No, he played a garbage man in, I think, Baltimore. And like it was like the Cosby Show if the Cosbys weren't really rich and they kind of lived in a sketchy neighborhood, and they didn't have any kids. So, but it was like him and a bunch of other really good like black stage actors made this show. And in the second season, as like kind of a ratings push, it was like a really good show because it was like funny and there were good characters, but it also like dealt with a lot of like more serious issues because it was like a different like, unlike the Cosby Show, they were living in a poorer neighborhood. It was like more reflective of reality, like Good Times or something like that. That was a little more realistic about how people live. And but it was like they weren't like poor and like dirty or anything. They were like they had were like normal people. His wife was a nurse.
Damn it, I'm a garbage man. I smell all the time.
Yeah, well, I was like thinking he was like a garbage man, and he'd constantly be bringing things home that he found on the route that somebody threw out that they would like use in the house. But it was like the house still looked kind of nice. It was like everything looked used. But in the second season, it's
See
kind
this
of like
frisbee? We can use it as a plate to eat food off of.
Oh, God.
That's more like a Sanford and Son joke, I think. But in the second season, as like a gag, like to boost ratings or something, I can't remember why, but one episode they decided to do a special episode that was live, so it looked like a normal sitcom, only it was all shot and beamed out to the world live on the East Coast, anyways. And then they did a really good job, so they were like, oh, let's just do that every week, and that'll be like our gimmick. So they did this
And
thing
that's
where
how Saturday Night Live was born.
No, but I think it's the only sitcom like in the modern era, like since the 50s when they recorded everything live. It's the only sitcom that ever did an entire season. Their second season was all live shows. And
Oh, wow.
And I think people tuned in a lot at the beginning, and then people stopped tuning in because they never fucked anything up. All the actors were so good that nobody could tell that it was live because they were just always on point. And but anyways, there's a very famous scene where Charles S. Dutton threatens to murder a drug dealer in Rock, which is pretty good one to look up. I was just watching old Rock scenes on YouTube earlier today.
That sounds pretty cool.
In Vogue did an episode. The entire episode is on YouTube. Their guest starring episode. Anyways,
In Vogue, you said?
Yes, En Vogue.
You got heroin, nothing. Crack, nothing. I don't know.
Charles S. Dutton also has a pretty interesting life. I don't know if you guys looked that up. He was in.
Well, we love him in the things we love him in. I love him in A Time to Kill, and of course, the third installment of the Alien franchise. As well as what was that other one we were talking about? I forgot.
Is he in the dance? He's in like a dancing movie, I think. Does he dance?
Oh, Cookie's
Am I thinking of
Fortune. I love Cookie's Fortune.
Cookie's
That
Fortune is
movie's
really
great. Yeah.
good. I feel like we might
Liv
be the only
Tyler.
two people I know who like that movie, but it's a good movie.
People don't like Cookie's Fortune?
I feel like it's an under-respected movie. I don't feel like
Did he also play Fortune in that movie?
Who are they?
yeah, it's a sequel to this.
He sort of does.
It's a Robert Altman movie where are they, like Louisiana, Mississippi, somewhere down there?
Yes, I think it is Mississippi, but it's deep south, and it's like an inversion of a whodunit.
Yeah,
It's like a whodunit where you know who did it, but you keep watching because you have to see what these characters are doing.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like Knives Out.
He's great. Yeah, kind of like Knives Out in that sense. And he's great in that. Like he's great in everything. He's But would you like him in prison, Colin? Because that's where he was when he got his start.
Oh, I knew that too. Yeah, he
He
started.
spent
in prison, yeah.
better part of a decade in prison for manslaughter. And,
Holy shit, that long?
And a bunch of other stuff. And that's where he got an education and learned to act. And then when he got out, he got an associate's degree in prison, and then I think he got a bachelor's degree somewhere else, and then he ended up going to Yale Drama School for his graduate degree, which is like I think Yale Drama School might be the best drama school in the world. So it's up there.
Back with the fucking New England shit. No, sorry.
Never forget Juilliard.
Little shout out to Yale. Well, Juilliard I don't think has a postgraduate program, but I'm sure it's fine, but it's probably also very highly respected.
Remember when Matt got so into Juilliard that he wanted to call himself a Julie Tard?
When I Juilliard, I Julie hard.
That's so stupid. I'm sorry. I don't know why I wanted to say that so bad. I'm glad you apologized for it, though. I feel like that's making it up to our listeners a little bit.
You can ask me to cut it out at the end of the show.
I won't.
You can ask, but we won't do it. Yeah.
You ever say something in the podcast and then you're just too ashamed to even bring it up again?
And you just hope that it gets cut out.
Yeah, I've definitely been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. Probably that Joe Rogan guy. He probably does that all the time.
Well, when you record 8 hours of blather a day, you're gonna. It's not all gonna be gold. Should we talk about the slow clap, because it is one of the most aggressive, egregious slow claps ever?
Is this movie the originator of the close lap, the slow clap? Is this the first movie?
In movies, I feel like slow clapping happened outside of movies before, and then are you asking if it's the originator of slow clapping in general or slow clapping in movies?
You believe that that a slow clap has actually happened in
Oh,
real
yeah.
life at some point? Are you on crack?
No one claps like that.
No.
My dream is a world where slow claps happen weekly, if not more often.
The slow clap in this movie is not only so aggressively slow, but it's they stay on that one guy for so long. It's they really want you to know that he's clapping slow.
He's taking a stand, and even as he's clapping, he's kind of looking around is anybody gonna jump in here? Come on, guys, let's go. But it's really there's 2 seconds between each clap. He's clap, and then clap.
It's a slow clap. That's how you start it.
It's wait.
I would prefer slower.
Yeah.
Personally.
According to Quora, Well, obviously, the first answer is Citizen Kane, but that isn't really a slow clap. He just gets up and claps when nobody else is clapping.
Wait, who claps in Citizen Kane? The sled?
Yeah, yeah. It's a really slow clap because it doesn't have hands. The entire movie takes place between two of the sled's claps. We never see it clap on camera.
That's right.
I really dug that Citizen Kane movie, but why did they show the sled clapping like that? It really confused me.
No, it says The Lion in Winter with Peter O'Toole as Henry II clapping, and maybe Brubaker, which I've seen.
I don't
but
like any of those
remember.
answers because they're not Rudy.
Yeah, I feel like this is it. This is it. Rudy made the slow clap. Let's just put it in there with all the lies I've told about Ron and Clint Howard.
One of my big time favorite guilty pleasure movies is Not Another Teen Movie, which is just amazing. And I'm pretty sure they have a character that just tries to start a slow clap in every scene he's in, and he keeps failing because they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end, some other character jumps in and starts the slow clap, and he misses his opportunity, and he's like devastated. That actually is a really funny movie. That's a really funny movie, only because it's such a specific, tight genre, and basically it had like so many obvious things to pull from in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's of those kind of like spoof kind of movies where they just basically steal the plot of other movies and like make it silly and zany and stuff like that. It's probably my favorite. I've seen everything they're referencing. I've seen it, and like the jokes in it are all really funny to me, and like the story they tell still works because they've taken a story that's basically like a well-oiled machine of like this is the high school story, like I don't know.
And all the actors in that are good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good cast, and it's like beat for beat, she's all that.
Yeah.
So it's basically stealing like a tried and true plot and just.
But they take Varsity Blues, they take Pretty in Pink,
Yep.
they get everything.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I consider that movie to be the last good spoof movie. After that, it was all those like epic movie and like just garbage.
I think some of the scary movies came after that. I don't know.
Yeah, the bad
People love
ones.
Scary
Some of the
movie.
scary movies are okay. Yeah, even the sequels weren't that bad. Some of the scary movie ones were okay, but that was definitely the best of the bunch, I think.
I mean, it's no Hot Shots, but
Yeah.
So we have a slow clap in this, and we have a slow chant. Mm-hmm. It was started by the same guy. Were they both the same guy?
it was the same guy.
He just like starting shit.
Yeah.
Same guy. Why?
Big meathead.
Yeah, I mean that's probably like what he majored in, like at fucking Notre Dame, because he probably majored in football. Not to say that Notre Dame. Yeah, not to say that Notre Dame doesn't have fine academics. I'm just saying, like, this guy
Majored in
maybe
slow clapping.
He was a little bit more into slow clapping and making chants than he was his finer studies, his book reading, his paper writing.
His book learning.
He's just like in every facet of his life. He's in class, and the teacher's like, "All right, kids, pass up your homework," and he's just like, "Homework,
Clap.
homework,
Clap.
homework." Yeah. All the kids are looking at him like,
It's not that he wasn't trying to start a slow clap. That's just the way he claps. He's just kind of a slow
guy.
person. He's just yeah.
"It's all the concussions."
By the way, that wasn't the only. I don't know if you guys noticed. That was not the only slow clap in the movie. There is also Charles S. Dutton clapping like he's never somebody described clapping to him, but he's never actually seen it or done it before. He's like clap, clap.
It's like the Brendan Fraser clap. Have you guys seen that meme?
No,
Brendan Fraser at the Emmys or something, and he's like he claps like that. It's great. You gotta look it up.
I thought it was like Steve Martin in The Jerk when he's trying to snap his fingers to the beat, and it's like everything. It's like so off the tempo. It's like Charles S. Dutton's like clap, maybe one more, and I guess I'll get one more clap in.
See, I don't like this. Like, I actually totally buy that this is the way that this man claps when this happens. Like, I totally get it. Like, he's just so overcome with like pride and joy and inspiration that like that's the clap that flows through his body. That's the clap of a man overcome by his heart feels.
Or he's having a stroke and he's lost control of some of his
Rudy killed that man.
fine motor
That's the
skills.
white sun I never had out there.
You see that crowd of 100,000 people? Rudy inspired all of them. But you don't know that Rudy also killed a man today. That's the price we pay here at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's the story for Rudy 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. The ghost of fortune.
Yeah, Rudy too. What's the
Rudy 2, Fortune's Cookie.
Ew. That's where they're in prison together. What is the prison football movie?
The Longest Yard.
Yeah, The Longest Yard. Yeah, Rudy 2, The Longest Yard, Fortune's Cookie. It's got two
subtitles.
yeah.
The Undiscovered Country.
Rudy 2, The Longest Yard, Fortune's Cookie, The Undiscovered Country.
The Wrath of Khan.
Why did you want it to take place in prison? Are you just trying to make it about like?
Because you said he killed a man, and then Matt was talking about his cookie.
Oh, I get it. The ghost of fortune is not in prison, but Rudy is. I thought Rudy gets away with it because of what he did for Notre Dame. You know, like they covered it up. That's what I was thinking. We gotta really like hammer out some of the details of this Rudy 2 script.
Yeah, before we start pitching it around town, I think we should definitely workshop some of these beats a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do we? Do you guys have anything to jump into? I want to make one quick point about the priest. There's a scene where the priest meets Rudy in church and he's praying to get into Notre Dame. It's after he's been rejected and he's on his last attempt, and the priest walks in.
Are you talking about Turtle Dove's priest?
Yeah.
The Turtle Doves guy from
Yes,
Home
that guy.
Alone 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Yes, that guy. And he walks into the chapel, and as soon as he walked in, he's talking to some other priests. And as soon as he walked in, I knew he was going to find Rudy there, and I knew exactly what he was going to do and where he was going to sit. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? If you saw me sitting in a church somewhere and you wanted to come over and say hi, what pew would you go into in the church? Probably the one that I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Go over, sit next to me. We could have a conversation. In the movies, that never, ever, ever happens. And as soon as I saw that man walk into that chapel, I was like, he is going to sit either one row up or one row back from Rudy, even though he's there specifically to talk to Rudy. And sure enough, he walked in to the row in front of Rudy to talk to Rudy.
See, I was just confused because I thought you were talking about the very first scene where he does in fact sit next to him, and I thought you were actually taking it to like another like gay molester place because of the way he was sitting or something, and I was like, why do you keep going there?
No, that seemed normal. They were just sitting on a bench together. That was a normal
Okay,
scene.
good.
And that was a bench. There was actually nowhere else for him to sit.
Right.
He could only
Harris,
sit.
I thought when you said if you saw me sitting in a church, where would you sit? What pew would you sit in? I thought because of your height, I was thinking, Harris is tall. Is there some strategic pew to sit in where I could get a better vantage point to speak to him? If I sit next to him, will I be too low?
on my shoulders.
Yeah, this reminds me of my idea for the perfect church in which the pew is interactive. So you go and you sit in the right pew, and if you're praying hard enough and the pastor or priest really likes what you're doing, that pew will raise up and the other pews will go down, increasing the heaven-hell metaphor, really hammering it home what it's all about.
Like the harder you pray, the higher up you go. How does it measure your prayer?
I don't
In a lot of
know.
synagogues, that's actually how they figure out where people seat. You get seats in the front row if you're like sponsoring the church adequately, and if you're like a good citizen, you get better seats at synagogues.
Yeah.
So it's like a mark of pride to be sitting up front.
When I was much younger, we went to a Methodist church sometimes, and in Methodist church, it was like no one sits in the front row. It's just weird. It's like too kiss assy.
Is that the one with snake handlers?
Absolutely, it is.
Do you have like a bunch of snake bites on your arms?
Not just my arms, Matt. You want to get that good Jesus venom, you've got to mainline it into your sensitive areas.
You only get bit if your faith is weak.
Right.
Colin, you just weren't a strong enough believer.
That's all I think of Texas is just snake handlers at church.
I mean, there's also the Baptist churches where they just sort of sing and have fun. Those are a little more
Are you
laid
talking about
back.
the mega churches where they build it like a stadium and like the?
No, that's a whole different weird thing.
Do you guys watch that show on HBO about the mega churches? The
Righteous
Danny
Gemstones?
McBride. Yeah, Righteous
I love that
Gemstones.
show. I cannot wait
So
till it
good.
comes back.
That's a good one.
Can't wait till that comes.
That's all we have to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we have to say about
I've
that.
been watching The Boys on Amazon Prime. Do you guys watch that?
I am up to date. Actually, I've actually seen the first. They're releasing a second season in chunks. I didn't know that, and so I ended up watching the first half and was like, "Oh fuck! Now I gotta wait."
It's like the olden
Very
days.
boo, Amazon Prime, boo.
I haven't watched season 2 yet, but I just finished season 1, and I was pleasantly surprised. My brother usually recommends like hot garbage for me to watch, and this is his recommendation. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And like first 5 minutes of the first episode, I was sucked in. I was like, this is solid. It's like super violent. It's about like Colin, you said you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's like taking like superhero shit and putting it on its head, or taking it to like the nth degree sort of thing.
Like trying to treat it as if it was like super realistic. What would the real world problems be if there was actually superheroes?
What if Superman was
And,
evil?
like how would they be like misused? And yeah, right, exactly. Like what would real superheroes be like? And the answer is like you wouldn't want them around.
Right, they're so corrupt with power. Like they have so much power and can do anything that like nothing can stop them from like being a dick, basically.
And they're also being like manipulated and sold and used and
Corporatized, like totally. Yeah, it's become like a corporate. Everything they do is a corporate decision.
Yeah, it's as much a commentary on like the ills of big business having too much power and getting away with misbehavior than it is about like actual superheroes.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's funny too. It's like it's great. It's just great.
Yeah. The second season's is so far I thought really good too. So recommended. A license to watch, seal of approval. 2 out of 3 podcast hosts recommend you watch this.
Why don't I just recommend it without seeing it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just
3 out of 3. It's unanimous.
Going in blind.
go blind. Yeah.
It worked.
Should we maybe talk about like I don't know if I've even talked to you guys about this. I sort of kind of put this show in a new direction, but we're no longer going to be doing the shows where we talk about what we're into. We're going to sort of absorb those shows into these movie shows.
The merging.
So now they're merging, yes. So that's why we're.
I don't know how that's going to work though, Matt. How are we going to bring up stuff that we're into that's not on the subject of the movie that we're discussing?
Yeah, how would that
That'll be
happen?
kinda
It's
weird.
it's
Be a
like
real
we've been talking
non-sequitur.
about The Boys this whole time. I mean, we've been talking about Rudy this whole time.
that's it. You screwed it up, but it's the right idea though.
I don't know. We'll just have to make it work. It's an experiment. We'll see if this works, and if not, we'll bring it back. But we're only 3 guys, and we only have so much time in this world, and I think we need to. It's about giving you guys our best, the best of us, and we're not spreading ourselves too thin. So
Yeah. We've all got a lot of important obligations. Matt has to spend several hours a day with his thumb up his ass. It's just a thing that he does. It's tradition.
how else will I achieve that smell?
Yeah, Harris was like frailly, like just looking basically like he was on his deathbed, and he was like, I feel like butter scraped over too much bread.
Too much podcasting.
We do too much.
It's wearing me down,
Yeah.
Colin.
The fans, they're oversaturated.
Sounded like a British urchin. Yeah. We're giving them too much content. They can't handle it all.
Can't do this anymore. Look at me. Look at what it's done to me.
Bear it any longer.
We must spare them our good work.
Yeah. One of his toes fell off. It was really weird. It's okay though. He had 11.
But I was gonna say, not a permanent problem.
Yeah, he had 11. No big deal. No big deal.
By the way, speaking of other stuff we're doing, I went to the dentist today for the first time in several years.
Wow.
The good news is my teeth aren't falling out right now.
The bad news
The
is,
bad news is they might fall out in the future.
The bad news is I'm dying.
turns out I'm not even a human being.
The only thing that's gonna live is my teeth.
Yeah.
I have to get a dental implant when I get back from my trip, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, that's fun. Where
What
is
does
it?
that mean?
In your mouth.
In my mouth, it's right here, lower left side.
You know my front four are an implant, right?
Really? No.
Yeah, I've got two implants, and then this is the crown, is the front four teeth, and that's the problem. Is it's actually come loose. The anchor that they drilled into my skull is a little loose, and I went in there to see what I could do about that, and the dentist was like, that is such a painful pain in the ass, and it's like not probably a good idea to do it unless you absolutely have to. So her recommendation was that I just stop biting things.
Oh.
So I can no longer bite things anymore. Which is kind of sad because I love sandwiches, but
Interesting.
Just grind everything up in a blender and just drink everything through a straw. You're gonna have to start doing that anyway at some point.
I can chew, I just can't bite. So like no more apples, no more corn on the cob.
Bagels.
Yeah, bagels. It's out. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's something that
you can't just go to the other side of your mouth, like always eat from the side, like.
Well, yeah, I can like chew with as long as I don't have to. It's the biting. It's just the front teeth. I just can't use any of these front four
you got to
teeth.
work on like where you take like the food and you basically what you do here, Harris, is you take the food in your hand and then like before you actually put it in your mouth, kind of put it on the side of your mouth, like on your cheek, and use that to pull your face open, and then you stuff in, and then you're biting with the canine only.
Hot dog eating style.
Yeah.
It's like you jam the thing into your mouth without biting it, and then you just push it sideways and then just munch. Yeah, I can do that. I can do all these things. I don't know if you guys have ever seen me eat, but it's fucking disgusting. There's not a lot of biting involved. Honestly, there's not even a lot of chewing involved. I like take the heel of my hand and just try to shovel the food into my face as fast as possible. It's got to be tough to watch. I can't imagine how people do it.
Have you ever been around someone who chews with their mouth open?
Ugh.
No, but I might have to. I don't know if these teeth get much worse.
Oh God, it's disgusting.
Honestly, one of those like weird paranoid fears that I have is that like someone I'm super close to or in love with, or like someone that like, you know, like many years down the road, I've spent many years with them or something, and like the entire time they just like secretly hate me because they're so disgusted by the way it is I consume food. Like, you know, like
No, I think you eat pretty normally. I think if anything, it would be the smell.
5 foot nothing,
You're 6 foot nothing,
100 and nothing,
200 nothing,
200 nothing, and that smell.
and that fucking smell.
The way you chew your food, it's disgusting. The smell.
Well, anyway, so Matt, what you can expect with his implant is they're going to. Is it on the top or the bottom?
bottom.
Top.
Bottom.
Oh, bottom.
Can you hear me?
Oh, my internet connection is unstable, and now all you guys are frozen.
Colin, you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm stable. I'm a stable genius.
Stable genius.
But they drill a pilot hole, and then they screw a screw into your jaw, and the pressure. It probably won't be as bad in your jaw. It doesn't hurt, but it feels fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because they did it into like I got 2 of them in my front of my skull there, and it felt strange. And they're like wrenching them, trying to get them in as tight as possible.
Oh God.
And it's weird. But then when it's done, it actually like it doesn't hurt. And so as soon as the thing is in there, it's like usable and totally normal until it starts getting loose, and apparently now there's some catastrophe that's going to be a huge pain in my ass. But you know. You just have the one though, so you'll probably be fine.
Maybe they could do like a nuts and bolts procedure where they go in with the bolt through the mouth, and then they go with the nut through your nose, and they like screw it down with like the nose.
This is in his jaw, so they have to go with the nut underneath.
Oh yeah, it looks like they're gonna have to go in through your butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just hope they use a washer.
What's the line from the Walleye Vision line from Hot Shots?
Which one?
There's an operation to correct it, but they have to go in through the rectum, and no man's going to take that path with me.
We should just cover Hot Shots as a franchise.
Oh man, we gotta.
I was thinking like every couple of franchises we should do like a twofer, like a franchise that just is 2 movies, you know, and just maybe bang it out in like one episode. Yeah, we could do one episode.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I would do Hot Shots. And I mean, Airplane and Airplane 2 is the same fucking jokes twice. So that definitely shouldn't be multiple episodes.
Shatner's in Airplane too. That's not. I'm not picking those though. When it's my turn to pick, I'm strongly leaning towards what I'm gonna pick already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if we could talk about it and just cut it out, or like
Okay.
maybe we'll give the fans like a hint of what's to come. You know?
It's like what, like 8 months away or something.
yeah, exactly.
No, it'll be what, January?
Oh yeah.
No, that's when yours starts.
Yeah, that's when yours starts.
Oh, I thought mine started in December. Oh yeah, mine go like December through January.
something like
Anyways, it's not now. So I'm leaning heavily towards going into the Batman franchise. I don't know which iteration of the Batman franchise, but that's what I want right now. And
that. Are
I
you
think-
talking just doing like the Burton Schumacher films as one?
I kind of don't care. I just want it to be Batman. Either way, it's kind of.
I feel like the Nolan ones are separate from the other ones, even though technically there's no. After the first 2, there's not really the same carryover. Those are kind of all of a
I mean,
era, you know.
we could start with Adam West, and you know.
The original 1960 Batman is hilarious. The part where he's got the bomb and he's running around, and every corner he turns around, there's like a bunch of ducklings, and there's a bus full of nuns, and everywhere he goes, he can't get rid of this fucking bomb.
I like the
Yep.
shark repellent scene.
The shark
yeah.
repellent, yeah, classic.
Yeah, Batman's a pretty good choice, but it's one of those franchises. I was talking with someone recently, like explaining this show to them, and they were like, "Oh, what about Alien?" And I was like, "Yeah, but then do we cover Prometheus and Covenant?" And they're like, "Yeah, you have to. They're part of
Yeah.
the same franchise." And I'm like, I don't know. It's debatable.
What did you do to that person?
Yeah, I would argue.
I killed them.
I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things where I guess it's debatable, but I don't feel like Prometheus and Covenant are part of the Alien. Like, I think it's the first 4 movies, and no Alien versus Predator. No, like we could do some of those movies as like bonuses, but
Well, I mean,
feel like they're
so
part of
for
that
those 2
franchise.
movies in particular, like, yes, it is technically a different series of films, but it's part of the same lore. You know, like those movies. I mean, even though they didn't like finish what they set out to do, those movies were attempting to establish a prequel story for the original Alien movies. So it exists in
Yes,
the
and-
same world.
and shitting the bed horribly, just filling the bed up with shit.
I've seen neither of them, and I look forward to watching them because maybe you guys are wrong.
Oh, don't. No. That could be such a good franchise because it's like a tight 4 movies and they're all actually kind of interesting in their own way.
I love that series. I think that's a good contender. We should do like an awards
Yeah.
show at some point. Like once we've done enough, we could go back and like give awards out to like the franchise we like
Yeah.
the most or something.
Yeah, the Watchies.
Make up stupid awards.
The Watchies.
The Watchies, the licensees.
the
The
licensees.
licensees.
The
The licensees.
The licensee
The
watches.
Watchies.
The Tuies.
The Tuies. Yeah, we just name it after the middle word.
We can't decide on which name to pick, so like each part of the award ceremony is a different kind of awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear from the fans on this. If you're listening and this has not been cut out of the podcast, please email us, message us on the Patreon.
I think that's something we need to build too. We need more fan engagement, you know, Patreon is the place to go. Obviously, you're listening to this show. Just jump online, go to patreon.com/L2W and just like reply to one of our postings. Yeah, you could like reply. We can see your name. We'll know what you said and who you are and where to find you.
Yeah, tell us what you think about Batman, Aliens, and Hot Shots.
Should we talk about Rudy some more?
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to say about Rudy?
You know what's funny to me is the guy who plays Divine, the second coach. He's like that guy from Major
Eddie
League.
Harris from Major
Yeah,
League.
Eddie Harris from Major League.
Yeah.
And like it's so hard to take him seriously for me. Like I end up laughing at him like he's like not a bad actor like cuz he's expressing himself, he's emoting, and like you see that he's playing the character and like giving something to the role, but to me it's funny, you know? Like I'm just like that guy's a funny guy.
Counterpoint, he is a bad actor because he is overacting every section of that character. Like that character is supposed to be like the wet blanket that's going to ruin Rudy's big victory, which is terrible because in real life that coach apparently was like Rudy's biggest supporter, and it was his idea to have Rudy play. And they came and asked him if they could twist things around to make him kind of a bad guy to make it more dramatic, and he was like, all right, that's fine, you know, Rudy's a friend of mine, so I'll let him do it for the movie. And then he saw the movie and he was like, what the fuck, you guys made me look like an asshole and you used my real name. He was very pissed off, but he's like, seriously, he's like, even at the end of the movie he reluctantly puts Rudy into the game. Rudy gets a sack in his like only like snap. And he's like, and as he walks off the field, they're all carrying him off the field, and he's like giving him a look like, that fucking sucks. I hate this. This is like, it was like he lost. It was like, because I hate happy endings and good things, and you should all be sad about this.
He keeps shooting a look like when they're all chanting and stuff. He gives a look like, that's not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. You know, like I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
My favorite is when the other coach asks him, like, are we going to put Rudy in? And he mouths the word no, but he actually says it, but you can tell he's trying to mouth it, but saying it on accident. And I just imagine the director being like, okay, you're just going to mouth the word no. You're not going to say it out loud because you don't want to, you know, upset the team. And he's like, oh, I know how to act like that. And then he does it, and he's like, you're saying it out loud. Can we get another take? And then he keeps doing it. Like, you're saying it out loud.
They actually did.
Am I?
They did 6 takes, and that was the only one where he didn't say fuck no. Like, well, I guess we got to use this one.
Yeah, for some reason he kept like, you know, calling him Serrano and like making fun of voodoo. It was a little confusing.
Yeah, he's definitely got his characters mixed up. And also, I was wondering, like, I don't know how old he is in this, but he looks the same age as Major League, which came out like 10 years earlier. But also, does that mean he was like a 40-something-year-old pitcher in Major? I know that his role in that movie was to be like a kind of an over-the-hill pitcher, but was he seriously like 40-something years old in that movie?
Yeah, I think so. That's why Major League's so great, because they're all not supposed to be able.
That's
to
a
win.
franchise.
It is a franchise.
is.
Oh, but it's one of those weird franchises that like eventually goes to straight to video, right?
Yeah, they had Major League 3.
Back to the minors.
The minors, yeah.
What was that? Was that Back to the Minors? I thought Major League 2 was Back to the Minors, and Major League 3 was something else. But they're like in the farm system with the guy from Justified and
Does it have Scott Bakula?
and The Shield. No, you're thinking of Necessary Roughness. Oh, maybe it was Scott Bakula. Maybe he was like the manager.
Yeah, I've seen them all. And yeah, Major League 2 is just Major League 2. Major League 3 is Back to the minors.
Well,
Yeah.
Major League 2 is Major League 2 is right. Major League 2 is where they replaced Wesley Snipes with Omar Epps, though,
Yes.
right? Talk about downgrading.
They also get Watanabe.
I mean, no offense to Omar Epps, who I love in Juice and a lot of other stuff, but seriously, not Wesley
no,
Snipes.
I hear you. You're attacking Omar Epps and with a lot of hatred, and it's really uncomfortable for everyone. But anyways,
well,
Why did they
as
replace
far as
him?
I know, he's straight and alive, so I'm giving him a lot of benefits of the doubt here.
Why did they replace Wesley Snipes? Is he just a dick in real life or something?
they probably just wanted more money.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Wanting money doesn't necessarily make you a dick.
I think when an actor quits over a role that people adore them for because they just want a couple more Jeffersons, or was it Lincoln? Who's on money?
What?
Benjamins.
But yeah, but you're like, as long as the character is beloved, it doesn't matter if they get paid like 10 cents.
Yeah, I feel like that's not really fair to them, especially because like if he doesn't get more money in that second movie, he was a much bigger star in the second movie.
Yeah.
He would have made the box office much bigger, I think. So why shouldn't they pay him?
Yeah, I get it. You don't have to
more.
explain the politics of it to me. It just bugs me.
Not politics, it's economics, man.
Well, the politics of arguing, for more money.
Yeah, still, I think it's still economics.
Fuck you.
But anyways, my favorite joke in all of Major League was when they don't have his name on the list of the tryouts, so they just move his bunk bed outside, and he wakes up and he goes, "Shit, I got cut already," and runs in.
Yeah, and then in pajamas and no shoes, coming from the parking lot, he beats them in a 40-yard dash when he was in the parking lot and they had already started running.
They had already started. Yeah, he's that fast. Unfortunately, like one of the great things about the movie is what you learn is that he actually has no functional baseball skills outside of that. Like he can't hit and he can't field, so all he is really fast.
Hey, Willie Mays Hayes is like one of the great all-time baseball players in fictional baseball history.
Well, if we're talking the greatest fictional baseball movie of all time, it's not technically a sports movie, but The First Naked Gun has some of the best baseball scenes.
When the tiger rips the guy's head off. Like, how about that?
A car? Doesn't he get hit by a car?
Yeah. Not to mention all the great umpiring.
Yeah, the moonwalking while calling the third strike while pretending to be an umpire.
Hey. And then he takes off the mask and they're like, "It's Enrico Palazzo."
Must kill the queen.
Oh god, there's another good franchise.
I love that Enrico Palazzo joke because they basically repeat it when they do the third movie, and they're like, "Oh, it's Phil Donahue."
Oh yeah, I love that. That's a franchise we have to cover.
Yeah,
Like a midget in a urinal. I'd have to stay on my toes.
Yeah. Nice beaver.
God.
Rudy. All right, so did we talk about Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau?
Jon Favreau. Yeah.
It's Vince Vaughn's first movie, right?
Yep. His first, and he looks very young. Also, Lily Taylor looks extremely young. It's hard to imagine she was doing movies like 5 years before this.
Yeah, I never liked her. I don't know why.
Shots fired, Lily Taylor.
I don't like her character in
Matt's
this
calling
movie.
you out.
She's just like, yeah, I have a vision for like what your life is gonna be, and that's not working out right now. So I guess you're dumping me, you asshole.
I've got a real take on this because I feel like I had the exact opposite reaction of that, and I definitely had the exact opposite reaction of what most people's reactions are supposed to be to this movie. Because all I could think of for the first like half the movie at least was, Rudy is such a fucking delusional asshole. Somebody should slap the shit out of him because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And it's like his dream is like the most important.
His dad was right.
Yeah. Well, it's not that he shouldn't have a dream. It's that he feels like everyone else should be helping him achieve his dream. You know, like he just feels like people should be giving him a job and letting him onto the team. He like barges into coaches' offices without, like he's not doing anything the right way. He just shows up at school and is like, "Can I just go here?" It's like, no, you fucking moron. You got to apply. You have to have good grades. You got to do, like, you can't just, the world just isn't going to open up because you decide you want to be a Notre Dame football player.
If he didn't do that, they wouldn't know why he was there.
It just feels very like the entire first part of the movie is all his dream, and anybody else who has anything that they want is just like, yeah, but how does that affect my dream that I have? I don't understand. Like, I don't even know what you're saying to me, Lily Taylor, because you're like all about, hey, we've been dating for like several years and I want to settle down and have a family. And here I am. How is that going to help me play Notre Dame football? It doesn't make any sense. I'm 26 years old, like I'm just, I'm not any closer to my dream.
Yeah, but like,
I thought he was a very annoying character for most of this movie.
No, you're wrong. Because you know that he should have broken up with her sooner, but he didn't because of her. That's why. It's like she's just like, no, like I've planned what you're gonna do, and he's like, I still have dreams to go do other things, and she's like, no, you don't. And she's been doing that for years.
First of all, he doesn't say he's got other dreams. Second of all, she doesn't say this is what you're going to do. She says, I've been putting up with a lot of your stupid bullshit and you owe me this of looking at the house. So it's not like she's like, you have to do these things. It's like, no, you can't stop on the sidewalk of this house that we came to look at and refuse to go in because I put up with too much of this bullshit.
No.
We're going into the fucking house and looking at the fucking house.
You got the vibe of that scene all wrong. The vibe is like...
He took one look at that house that she wanted, and he's just like, your taste is terrible.
Yeah. There's that, first of all. Yeah, that house looks like super boring, by the way.
Yeah.
But I guess that's, desirable for some. Anyways...
It's a steel town, Colin. I don't think they have like McMansions there.
I don't understand. One of my notes was like, I don't understand how a steel mill works at all. Like, it's so confusing to me.
Yeah.
How big is it? Like, it seems massive. It seems to go on for miles and miles.
And there's just sparks and flames shooting out of everything.
Yeah, and like, where does the finished steel come out? Like, where do we get the steel?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows how it works.
It's so confusing.
The producers of this movie certainly didn't know.
I think even the people who work in the steel mill probably don't know. It's like they know that their job is to like push this button and jam this rod in there and don't burn your face off. And some other guy knows that he's like tipping this bucket full of molten shit onto this thing. But nobody knows how that's how the captains of industry keep the worker down.
That's why you start at 12 years old and get promoted at 35.
Exactly. Yeah, but at that rate, you can be a plant manager by like 18. So.
Yeah, then you can have like 40 kids or whatever.
Yeah, you got to pop out 15 to 20 kids before your 40th birthday because that's basically heart attack
Death
time.
sentence.
Ned Beatty's character was actually 28 in this movie.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like, I've been working at the steel mill for almost 10 years now, and it has aged me terribly. I look like Ned Beatty.
The house buying scene, you got the vibe all wrong. It's like she's clearly a very controlling person, and he's like not into it. And like that's
Well, they establish early on when she's younger, they're like, "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" And he's like, "No," and she's like, "Yes, I am." Like they're like 10 years old, and she's asserting dominant.
yeah.
She's into him, and he is a closet case who's gay for Notre Dame.
But that's not wrong, Harris. That doesn't make him a bad person.
It does make him a bad person if he continues to string her along for all this time.
He's not though. She's controlling. She's the one making him do this.
He is.
Stuff.
He totally is. He because he didn't say I'm leaving to go to Notre Dame. He said, "Oh, maybe we should go look at that house." And then they walk down the sidewalk and they get to the house and he's like, I'm not feeling the house anymore. It's like, what kind of wishy-washy bitch-ass shit is that? I'm sorry, Rudy.
You're so wrong.
You were a real bitch to your girlfriend, and I'm glad she dated your brother who was better looking and taller.
You're so wrong.
Oh yeah.
And like, I don't care about that. I don't understand. I'm not sure Rudy even cares about that. He's just like, okay.
I didn't know why he was upset about that. This is all his fucking fault. You know, like, how could he be mad
I don't
about
know
that?
if he was upset about that. I think he's just like,
He stormed out of the house and left Christmas 5 seconds after walking in the door.
Yeah.
his family sucks.
And then went on an exercise montage to burn all the hate out of his system. He was fucking pissed.
his family sucks. That's why it's.
You're misinterpreting that scene.
not-
He was definitely agitated.
But like to me, it's not that he's mad just about her. His whole family just sucks, and that's like one thing.
Now, if she had married Notre Dame, that I could understand why he'd be mad about it, because he was like, no, Notre Dame's mine.
If she had married Notre Dame, everyone would be happy.
Like the campus.
Yeah.
The campus like makes its way into his house somehow.
She's in a relationship with Touchdown Jesus.
This is my new husband, Notre Dame. The college.
And it walks in, and it's got the leaves falling off the trees, and it's like do 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 do.
It's so stupid.
He's like, but I love Notre Dame. You bitch, you knew.
How does it fit inside of our house?
Your husband defies the laws of physics.
Anything's possible with Notre Dame.
The entire student body is there.
Yeah, they're all there. Please let us out.
The marching band is playing.
You see, Rudy, you were wrong all along to dream of going to Notre Dame. You had to marry Notre Dame, because only with marrying Notre Dame is anything possible.
The dad's just like, she's brilliant.
Yeah. The dad's like, Rudy, bad. You, good.
I don't know your name.
I always told you. Nobody's gonna pay for it when you get the milk for free, right, Notre Dame? That's right.
And in classic, our funniest bits are at the end of the show. We should wrap this up.
To this day, no other woman has carried the entire campus of Notre Dame off the field.
You know what the stupidest thing about that is later is that like 2 years after that they carried their quarterback off the field after just like a big bowl win or something. So this is like a sacred thing that only happened once in the history of Notre Dame, and then like 2 years after the movie they were like, you know what? Fuck it, let's just do it again.
I'm sure plenty of like injured guys got carried off the field too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good point.
Yeah, typical Notre Dame fans. Am I right, guys? USC. No.
Should we end this show by chanting Rudy and slow clapping?
I don't know.
Some of us should chant and some of us should slow
Is
clap.
there anything we forgot to mention? Hold on.
If we did, we'll have to come back for Rudy 2, the undiscovered country.
The Rudying.
Yeah, Cookie's fortune.
Rudy 2, the longest yard, Cookie's fortune, the undiscovered country.
The Wrath of Pete. His friend Pete.
Yeah.
The Wrath of Pete.
He comes back on fire.
Yeah. My notes here say that Sipich needs to get on the weights, and Favreau says "goddamn" a lot. We forgot to talk about that. Sipich.
We really didn't talk about Favreau much at all, but this is apparently the first movie they were in together. I don't know if they met in this movie. Do you think they did?
Him and Sean Astin?
Favreau and
Like, are you suggesting that they made the movie without
I'm
meeting?
sure they
somehow?
did meet.
Yeah. Are you suggesting that during their scenes together, they refused to meet one another?
No, Favreau and Vince Vaughn.
Oh, right, yeah.
Who went on to have a long career together and broke out together.
I think they
and-
did meet on this film, even though they don't share any scenes.
Well, that's why I was thinking they might not have. I mean, obviously, they were both L.A. actors living in L.A. at the time, so they could have met a lot of ways. But, like, it could have been one of those things where, like, I sometimes meet people that I'm like, oh, hey, I was an executive producer on this in this movie that you were in, and I'm just meeting them for the first time, and they're like, oh, cool, I like that movie. So it's possible
Yeah.
that they just had this in common.
I don't know. I'll have to ask them
never
next
know.
time I see them.
Yeah. Get to the bottom of this, Matt. Damn it.
Favreau, where'd you meet Vince Vaughn? Was it Rudy?
Rudy.
Get off my lawn.
Rudy.
Rudy. Rudy. Rudy. Rudy.
Rudy. Rudy.
Rudy. Too fast. Too fast. Too fast. Oh, you guys are going much too fast. Good slow clap.
Some good
All right. I think we're done.
Spastic clapping there.
Yeah.
All right. Do we give this an unofficial license to watch?
If you get on the weights.
We could.